We're going to jump into the Dynasty Fantasy Football stock market and look at 3 running backs, see how they're being valued on the trade market, see whether we should buy, sell, or hold them, go over their values, go over their production, see what we want to do in the long term. And we do this about once a week, and we've been going on the flow of we're going to cover a top guy down ADP and work our way down the board, cover a middle guy, and cover a deeper stash, someone who's going cheap in ADP, and we'll just keep working our way down throughout the offseason. Should cover about every running back, some of them twice. So that's what we're going to do going forward. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because one day I'll be covering your favorite running back. And if you got somebody you want me to cover that I haven't already, let me know in the comments below. And if I already covered them, I'll try and find the link for you. If not, maybe I'll just do it again. Maybe I don't remember, but we'll figure that out. But for our top guy for this week, coming down in ADP, the guy we're going to cover is Austin Ekeler from the Chargers. He turns 28 in May. He's being drafted as the 29th player off the board, and in ADP, he's the RB8. So he's holding some value still, even though he's not getting any younger. He had 11 RB1 games last year, 4 RB2 games, so very productive. He only had one where he was technically a bust, but he gave you 11.2 fantasy points still. So every game he played in, double-digit fantasy points. Astounding. 31% opportunity share, 19% target share, 51% share of the rush attempts, 62% snap share. Those ain't going anywhere as long as he's healthy. He's going to be the guy there. 2.92 yards after contact per attempt last year, so he's solid there. 109 catches and 717 yards. They did have a lot of injuries in the passing offense. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. We did see some injuries to the wide receivers that could have impacted the flow, allowing them to get some more targets. But again, this was a great season. And any other year, he's getting a lot of balls thrown his way. Very productive guy. You can't say that this was a once-in-a-lifetime deal. He's been productive his whole career. This was just a great season by him. Solid year. He will be an unrestricted free agent in 2024, which is going to be very interesting because he'll be 29 then. We'll be getting ready to turn 29. So the team's got some prep to do. We have a stacked running back class. We still got a stacked free agency class, even though we're losing a few guys due to the franchise tag. They may want to get an RB2, a backup there with some upside. See what happens. You still got Isaiah Spiller. You got Josh Kelly. But you may want to draft a guy. Get some competition back there. Again, it's a luxury right now because running backs are going to be cheap. You're going to get some cheap talent. That's something to keep an eye on. Maybe they're looking forward to that. Or maybe in the draft, a guy falls to them and they just say, hey, what the hell, we'll just do it. And they got that contract in mind. That also will give them some more leverage in negotiations if they want to pursue that. It just depends on what happens. They may just franchise tag him. That seems like the going ways right now with the running backs who are top tier. We'll tag them. We'll try and work out a deal. But for the long term, it's probably not going to be there. Long term, the odds are against him. The odds of him playing at age 31, 32, 33 is hard to imagine. So this is the time, if you want to deal him, you got RB8 and ADP, 29th overall off the board. This might be the time for you. This might be it. If you had an injury-riddled season next year, that might impact things. However, you also got production here for a year, maybe longer, that you might be able to take advantage of, especially if you're a top-tier team. If you're a bottom-dwelling team, should have been already gone. But let's look at the trade finder here at DLF. Look at some trades that went down. Josh Palmer in the 110. The 105 straight up. Aaron Jones and a 2024 second. The 211 and a 2024 first. Michael Pittman straight up for him. A 2023 first. 2023 first and Dalton Schultz. Guarantee those are not the 101. Maybe somewhere middle of the range of that first round. I doubt someone was going to deal or trade him away for like the 110, 111, 112. That's my rational thinking, even with Schultz thrown in there. Brock Purdy, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, 2 QB. Spin your wheels on that one. J.K. Dobbins in a second. Kyler Murray in 2 QB. That's an interesting one. He's an old, expensive asset. He screams sell, but he also seems like you can scream at a discount as well, depending on what's going on in your league. The trade calculator at DLF, the analyzers, got him valued as the 102. The thing is, to grease the wheels to get the deal done, considering his age, considering the market for these rookie draft picks, 105-ish, 104-ish, 106-ish, 103-ish, somewhere around there. Maybe like a 105 and something, maybe a 106 and something. Maybe another pick, maybe another player. Somewhere in that value range is probably going to be the sweet spot. We got a 105 straight up. My gut reaction is that a little light in the pants, considering he's 29th player off the board, RB8. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be ahead of him in ADP soon. He should already be. I think when they re-roll that, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be ahead of him. I think the RB2 in this class will be ahead of him. The RB3 is going to be pushing that, or going to be down a little bit in ADP, but we'll push that soon. Back half the summer guaranteed. 2023 first, Dalton Schultz. Imagine that's the middle first. So first and Schultz, I don't want Schultz, but maybe like a player of that level, depending on what you want. Maybe a sneaky running back, maybe like a Brian Robinson, a Pacheco, or maybe something like that, something sneaky. Middle first and something sneaky. Maybe you can get that done. You just got to be creative here. 2 QB and Kyler Murray, I don't see that happening too often. Just analyzing these trades. Aaron Jones in a second. The thing is, that's kind of a lateral move. It just doesn't grease the wheels for me. Like, I'd rather just roll the dice and see if they just sign him for a 1 or 2 year deal or tag him for a bit. Just because I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's older as well. I know what I'm getting from Ekeler as long as he's healthy, and as long as he's healthy is with any running back. So I'd rather just roll with Ekeler. I don't really care that much about the other pick. Michael Pittman, that's a decent pivot because it's a wide receiver, and wide receivers last a little longer. So that's something you could do, but maybe a wide receiver in that range. Maybe not just exactly him. Maybe one more expensive, a little less expensive, and something else. Something like that. Just be creative. Just think about it. You just got to think about the age, and you got to think about the age of your dynasty team, your competing window. If you're not competing now, and you're not going to be competing next year, what's the point? You really shouldn't be on your team, and really I shouldn't be saying this to you. So that's probably out of the discussion unless you really need to hear that from me right now. If you're competing and you got them, then of course you're probably going to hold on to them, ride that horse. Unless you want to kick the tires, see what comes back to where like you can get enough pieces where you can continue to compete with. That's what I would do. I would look to see if I can get pieces where I can get youth on the back end, yet get another piece with that's productive, whether it's a running back, wide receiver, tight end, whatever. So I'm looking for production and youth, like in a package, like him for 2 or 3 players, him for a pick and a player, something like that, to where I'm good on the long term and I'm still getting production now. That's if I want to do that. Maybe I'm just going to go all in for the championship. It's really how you want to do it. Also, a lot of leagues, very hard trading. I hear in all these videos, but I understand. But I got to give you ideas. I got to help you out. I feel like the rookie drafts is when all the deals are going to go down, and I'm going to say that for all the players. I've been saying it all year, so let's just cut the horse in the tail right now. Rookie draft time is when you're going to get your deals done, and then also for a player like this that's a veteran right before the season is when the value is going to spike up a little bit, because then the actual point scoring value will resonate in the market and it'll bump them up a bit. That's just how it usually runs. So those are the times to buy and sell, and then whenever you want throughout the season. Let's go on to our next running back. He is a younger guy. He was a rookie last season, but this market is crazy. Not everybody's safe. Only a few running backs. We're talking about Tyler Allgeier from the Atlanta Falcons. He's being drafted at 89th overall in startup drafts, RB29, so middle of the road. Got some value there. Last year, decent production considering he's on the Falcons. 3 RB1 weeks, 2 RB2 weeks. So there's 5 games with fantasy production there. 7 double-digit performances. So those are 7 games where you're left feeling okay to good. That's what I visualize that for most people. 3.58 yards after contact per attempt. Over 1,000 yards rushing, but he caught 16 balls. That is not sexy. The depth chart here in Atlanta is Caleb Huntley, Cordell Patterson, Avery Williams. Per overthecap.com, they rank second in cap space with 6.6 mil. That usually changes by the day. But they're up there in cap space. We have a decent running back class in free agency and the draft. He is a late round pick, drafting the 5th round, day 3 guys. Day 3 guys are usually not safe due to sunk cost. So this could be interesting as we get through these next few weeks, next few months. So just think about Tyler Allgeier and his long-term dynasty value. This could be good and bad. If you want to buy him, if they bring in another back, you can catch him cheaper and get some production. Maybe it's a little bit lighter production, but still, it can be valuable to you. Again, they're more than likely going to bring in somebody else. Somebody in the draft could be cheap, or they could bring in somebody cheap in free agency. These running backs are not going to be super expensive once we get over the top tier guys. That makes him dangerous, but it could make him an opportunity as well because he was very productive at BYU. He could be the hammer while the other running back could be the lighter guy who catches passes. Maybe they get like a Tajay Spears, pair him up with Allgeier. That could be pretty fun to watch. Here's what the Trade Finder's saying about the market with him. Him for Matt Stafford, 212 and 2 QB. Him for the 202. Russ Gage, Jacoby Myers, a 2nd in 2024. Mike Gesicki and a 3rd. 212 range is on their calculator for the analyzer. So he was dealt for a 202. Calculator saying 212 range. Random 2nd in 2024. So you're looking at a 2nd round pick somewhere in value. Probably middle of the road to grease the wheels. Like, you're not going to give him away for a late 2nd because that's where things are really going to be tiered off. Unless they bring in another running back, then that might scoop the value down that low. Like, you're really not going to just give them away. You really want something coming back at you. 202 seems a little high because you know there's high possibility there's going to be a decent running back there. And one of the wide receivers are probably going to be there as well. One of the guys that we kind of like, maybe like a Marvin Mims, maybe even like a Jalen Hyatt. There could be a wide receiver there with some decent draft capital, a 2nd rounder, late 1st rounder that's going in that spot. Another running back with some day 3 draft capital. Lower end, probably like a 3rd rounder that everybody likes could be falling there. The 202's got some value. I don't see that deal getting done. More like 205, 206, 207, 208-ish, 212. Like, I don't see people really being quick to move them for that. Maybe if they really want that pick while the draft's going on, I feel like it's going to be a little bit higher. Like, you're going to have to grease the wheels a little bit. I feel like he's a risk right now because of this whole scenario. Like, you can sit there and say, hey, he was good last year. He did this, he did that, he did that. He was productive. Only caught 16 balls, though. Day 3 pick. Lots of running backs in the market. All it takes is this. I don't look at this as a league where most teams have one running back and they roll with it. So you better be cool with that running back sharing opportunities. If that makes you nervous, then you better just play the market. And the thing is here, you may want to just kick the tires, see what comes back at you. Either way. If someone goes in this backfield and you like them, then just try and buy them at a cheaper rate. I feel like 212 would be the starting point. Maybe cheaper, 3rd round, 4th round. Really depends on who goes there and how much they pay for that running back. There's a good chance. And if he goes unscathed, I look for his value to go up a bit. So you're playing the market here. The odds here are saying that they might bring somebody in. They don't have any sunk costs invested. They're looking to get some playmakers. They want this offense moving. They are hectic at quarterback right now. One thing is building up the run game can help that. You already got some receivers there. They might bring in some more receivers, but you got Pitts, you got London. What else can you pay up for? What else can you pay up for? There's other positions and stuff, but that running back position, there's going to be some discounts this offseason that really is going to help you out. And a lot of teams are going to have those opportunities, and not many running backs are going to be left unscathed. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities for these NFL teams to catch a decent talent to work in their backfield to really help move the chains. And this is going to be a really fun offseason to watch. But we have a free agent running back that we're going to talk about today that could make some changes. Could be the guy playing with Tyler Allgeier because they could make a good 1-2 combo just with how they both play the game differently. They kind of fit together like a puzzle piece. And he's going to be a free agent. Devin Singletary, formerly from the Buffalo Bills, 25 years old, being drafted as the 171st overall pick. RB 54, 54th running back off the board. Last year had 4 RB1 weeks, 4 RB2 weeks. Free agent this offseason in a tough market. We got to see how long he's sitting on free agency. You got to see where he goes, what backfield he goes to. And there's a lot of speculation here. Not going to be the feature back. He's going to have to go to a team that's going to get him right amount of snaps, right amount of touches out of the backfield, right quarterback, because you know who gives the targets is the quarterback, not the coaches. So you got to look at that. Some quarterbacks just want to throw YOLO balls, and then there's other quarterbacks that dish out 25% of their targets to the running backs. You want to look into that as well. On the trade finder, not many trades, but most of them are just for a 2023 third. He's got a bunch of those. And then one for Josh Palmer, who's probably worth somewhere around there, a little lighter. Mid-third on the trade calculator. So third round pick is what his going rate is. That's just enough to know. Third round somewhere, probably in the middle. Somewhere around there. So that is a value that you're just taking a chance on. Things are going to tear off in the rookie drafts around there. You're going to have some good tight ends. You might catch a late round wide receiver you like. You might catch some good trendy running backs you like. So Singletary himself, very speculative. He's not going to be a feature back anywhere. He's 25 years old. He's going to be going to a new team. A lot of ambiguity here. If you have him on your roster, more than likely you're just waiting to see how free agency goes. If you're wanting to trade for him, anytime's a good time because his price isn't going to go up much higher. If he goes to the Chiefs, it might. Maybe they look at him and be like, this is what we want Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be. We need a guy like this. He is very dependable. We want dependability. Dependability plus Isaiah Pacheco, kind of nice. Reset us in age a little bit because Jerick McKinnon was kind of old. That will spike up his price. Something you don't want to bank on. There's 31 other teams. You're just waiting on the market. You're waiting on the market. I don't hear about many people diving in to the Devin Singletary stock because they think it's going to go to the moon. So really, he's just going to be a cheap guy. Cheap guys, we do cheap guys things. We either sell them for cheap picks or we try and buy them with cheap picks. And it's what you want to do. And there's only a few cheap backs you can go after a year. He might be one of them. He might go to a spot where he can just give you solid depth. And that's all you're hoping for out of him. And maybe you'll get a few more. Maybe you'll get a few RB1 weeks wherever he goes. Maybe a couple RB2 weeks. Last year you got 8 productive weeks out of him, which is solid. Still good. And maybe he goes in offense where he can give you 8 more, 5 more, 6 more. Maybe that can happen. You spend a third, fourth round rookie pick. That might happen for you. You might be able to get him for a fourth round rookie pick once we start drafting. That's the thing. Depending on where he goes, though. Depending. A lot of possibilities. What if he goes to the Eagles? How do you feel about that? What if he goes there? What if he goes to Cincinnati? How do you feel about that? What if he goes to Cleveland? Well, how do you feel about that? There's just a lot of places. There's a lot of places he could go. What if Dallas cuts Zeke and he plays with Pollard? Just random possibilities. You can really name almost any team in the NFL because you need more than one running back. You need multiples. What if he goes to Seattle? What if he's sharing the backfield there? Just anywhere, really. Really, if you think about anywhere he can go and be a side piece to the starting running back or just mix in. So really, he can go anywhere and probably give you close to production or some production or be a spot producer or however you want to think about it. But the days of people staking their claim as him being a future RB1, that's been long gone. That's never coming back. He's just a cheap running back that you're picking up, hoping that you get a little bit of something out of. He's a cheap running back that you might sell because you want to get back into the draft. I would use him as a placeholder to package up with. Like, say, I have my third round pick. I want to try and get to the early third, back in the second. I'll use him, maybe something else. Maybe I want to move up a little bit in the second round. I'll use him and maybe something else. Maybe if I need a sweetener to make sure I get that deal done to move up in the first, maybe I'll have him in as a throw-in. Stuff like that. That's what I see how he's used best in trade. If I'm going after this running back, this top-tier wide receiver, I got my package together, but I feel like I need to add something. He's on my roster. Maybe he gets thrown in there. That's how I see him best dealt. 1 for 1, it's not going to deal you much return. and buying them, it's just cheap. And the cheapest way to get him is as a throw-in-ish. He's a little bit more expensive than a throw-in, but he still is very cheap where you might be able to get him as a throw-in in some deals. You just got to be creative. You just got to just kick the tires at this one, see what comes back at you. But those are 3 running backs that we're talking about this week. We're talking about the trade values, talking about the market and how we can manipulate it, giving you some ideas, being very creative with it. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the way out. I'm here to help your dynasty teams. I'm here to help you build your dynasty teams, everything else. But I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.